Welcome to Breaking Ties, Is Divorce the Answer? This is your go-to source for practical advice and support when considering if a divorce is the right answer for you. Join us each weekday for a quick chat where we'll uncover a variety of topics such as child custody, property division, and self-care. Together, we'll explore the emotional, financial, and legal aspects of divorce and help you find the best path forward for you and your family. Here is your host and Certified Divorce Financial Analyst professional, Mike Fulkerson.
Hello and welcome back to Breaking Ties, Is Divorce the Answer? I'm your host, Mike Fulkerson, financial advisor and certified divorce financial analyst professional. And today we are going to tackle a question that often comes up alongside the decision to divorce, and that is child support. I mean, if you have kids, this is definitely going to be an issue that will need discussion. Now, when it comes to child support, though, we're going to look at a little bit different, and we're going to look at it after the fact. We're going to look at, can it be modified? And if so, how? And to begin with, we're going to, make sure everybody's on the same page here and understanding what child support is. And really, it is a financial obligation placed on one of the parents to help cover the cost of raising a child. It's determined by state guidelines that consider factors like income, parenting time, number of kids, and the goal really is to ensure both parents contribute fairly to the child's well-being. Now, since each state is different, you're going to have to look at your state laws to figure out how it works in your state. And when we get into divorce and child support modification, can it be modified after the divorce is final? And the answer to that is yes, but there are some key points to really consider. First, we're going to modify child support, or the courts will, they're going to look at it and they only modify it if there's been a substantial change in circumstances. Since the original order was issued, really, I mean, you got to look at it from the time of issue till currently today. And yes, life changes. I mean, when it's all said and done, things happen. And from the court standpoint, this means a significant and lasting change, not a temporary fluctuation in income or anything like that. Now, here's some examples. First, there's an income change. You could have a significant increase by one parent or a decrease of a parent, and that really could justify modifying. Let's see. And then, the other things to think about is basically job loss or job promotion. Those are the biggest drivers behind that. Now, if there's a change in parenting time where, the schedule has to change a lot, that may impact child support calculations. And then also increased needs of the child. So if the child's needs for healthcare, education, or extracurricular activities significantly increases, really, this could also warrant an adjustment. Once again, the courts are looking for kind of what's in the best interest of the child. Now, ideally, both parents can come to an agreement on modifying child support, and this can save time and money compared to actually going to court. However, if an agreement can't be reached, a judge will ultimately decide based on the evidence presented. I mean, it's, do you want it in your control or do you want it in the court's control? Now, I'm a big advocate of really, seeking some legal counsel in this issue because child support modifications can be complex and legal guidance really is highly recommended. A divorce attorney can help you understand your rights, navigate the court process, and ensure a fair outcome for your child. I mean, many people would probably go back to the attorney they used in the original divorce because you're familiar with them and you don't have to go through and interview a whole bunch more divorce attorneys again. So remember that child support is about ensuring your child's financial security. If you are considering divorce and have questions about child support, don't hesitate to reach out to a qualified divorce attorney. I want to thank you for joining me on this episode of Breaking Ties, Is Divorce the Answer? Should you have any questions on today's topic or other financial planning issues, feel free to leave a comment or contact me using my information in the description. Divorce is not the end of your story. It is the start of your next great chapter. And with that, take care. Hi, and welcome back to Breaking Ties Is Divorce the Answer? I'm your host, Mike Fulkerson, financial advisor and certified divorce financial analyst professional. And today we're going to dive into the world of fault versus no fault divorce. I mean, really, we're looking to get a understanding of the differences because it can significantly impact your divorce journey. Now, we're going to look at, the blame game versus moving forward. I mean, traditionally, divorce involved assigning blame. You'd file for a divorce based on your spouse's fault, like infidelity or cruelty. This fault-based system could be lengthy, messy, dragging up painful memories and feeling animosity. So enter the no-fault era. And thankfully, things have evolved. Today, most states recognize no-fault divorce. Here's the key difference. You don't need to prove your spouse's wrongdoing to get a divorce. In a no-fault divorce, you just simply cite irreconcilable differences or an irretrievable breakdown of the marriage. And this removes the blame game, allowing you to move forward with dignity and potentially a faster resolution. But are fault-based divorces completely extinct? While no fault is the preferred route, a handful of states still allow fault-based divorces. However, even in these states, no fault is still an option. So why choose no fault? I mean, there really are several advantages to the no fault divorce. And let's start with reduced conflict. I mean, it minimizes animosity between spouses, making the process really potentially smoother and less stressful. We could come to a faster resolution potentially. I mean, without finger pointing, reaching settlement might be quicker, saving time and money on legal fees. Who doesn't like to save money? And then there's protecting your kids. So a less contentious environment can be healthier for children caught in the middle. Now, we got to remember every case is unique. While no fault offers significant benefits, there can be some downsides. In some cases, proving fault can impact the division of assets or spousal maintenance awards. So I always recommend consulting with an attorney to understand the legal implications of your situation and state. And there are other factors to consider. I mean, divorce is a complex decision, and fault is just one of the pieces of the puzzle. Consider factors like child custody arrangements, division of assets, and emotional well-being when making your final decisions. And remember, you don't have to navigate this alone. A qualified divorce attorney can guide you through the intricacies of fault-based versus no-fault divorce. And they're going to advise you on your best course of action and ensure a fair and efficient resolution. Understanding the differences between fault-based and no-fault divorce can empower you to make informed decisions as you move forward. And with the right legal guidance and support, you can approach the divorce with clarity and a sense of control. I want to thank you for joining me on this episode of Is Divorce the Answer? Should you have any questions, I'm available. Divorce is not the end of your story. It is the start of your next great chapter. Until next time, take care. Hi, and welcome back to Breaking Ties Is Divorce the Answer? I'm your host, Mike Fulkerson, financial advisor and certified divorce financial analyst professional. And today we're going to get into a complex issue, and that is how a spouse's business gets factored into a divorce settlement. Let's face it, businesses can be a significant asset, but also a major complication during divorce. So we're going to go over kind of what you need to know. And we're going to start with, is the business marital property? And really, that's our first step. We got to determine what, if any, part of the business is considered marital property. Now, generally, businesses acquired during the marriage, or if its value increased significantly during that time, fall under the category of marital property. And if your spouse owned the business before the marriage, though, and it hasn't grown substantially during your union, it might be considered separate property. And the key question, did marital funds or your spouse's contributions significantly impact the business's growth. We're going to need to unravel the financials, and this is where things can get a little intricate. You'll likely need a forensic accountant to assess the business's value, and they're going to analyze assets, liabilities, and future earning potential. And when it comes to actually dividing the business, we got some options. And we're going to need that clear picture of the business worth, though. And then we can move on to options on how to handle it in the divorce settlement. So one option is a buyout. And this is the most common scenario. One spouse buys the other's share of the business. This can be done with a lump sum payment, structured payments, or a combination of assets. Could sell the business. If a buyout isn't feasible, selling the business and dividing the proceeds can be an option. However, this might not be ideal if it disrupts ongoing operations or impacts its future value. And another option here is co-ownership, and this is in very rare cases. So spouses might actually choose to remain co-owners. This requires a clear agreement on management roles, profit sharing, and potential future buyouts. It's a complex arrangement, and really, it can be emotionally and logistically challenging. So you want to take care if this is the route you're going to go. You got to remember that navigating a business within a divorce gets really messy sometimes. So consulting with an experienced divorce attorney specializing in cases really involving businesses or business assets is vital. They can advise you on your rights, explore the best options based on your specific situation, and ensure a fair and balanced settlement. And you're going to want to protect yourself financially, so don't underestimate the emotional toll this process can take. Have a strong legal team by your side can help alleviate some of that stress and protect your financial future. So a spouse's business really just adds another layer of complexity to the divorce proceedings that you're going through. And with the right legal guidance and clear understanding of your options, you can reach a fair settlement that protects your financial interests. I want to thank you for joining me on this episode of Breaking Ties. Is Divorce the Answer? Should you have any questions, just let me know. Divorce is not the end of your story. It is the start of your next great chapter. All the best. Hello, and welcome back to another episode of Breaking Ties. Is Divorce the Answer? I'm your host, Mike Fulkerson, financial advisor and certified divorce financial analyst professional. And today we are going to get into a question that many people considering divorce have, and that is spousal maintenance, which is also known as alimony. And we're going to actually specifically look at how long can you reasonably expect to receive those payments. So buckle up, because there's no one size fits all answer, and we're going to break down the key factors that come into play. Now, let's first make sure you and I are on the same page, and that is understanding spousal maintenance. And really, spousal maintenance is financial support one spouse pays to the other after divorce. It's meant to help the lower earning spouse maintain a similar standard of living they enjoyed during the marriage, or to allow them time to retrain or re-enter the workforce. Now, the length of your marriage matters. The duration of spousal maintenance heavily depends on how long you were actually married. And here's a general guideline, but remember, these are just starting points, and every case is unique, and states also have different rules on how to factor this in. So you're going to want to look at your state laws. So a marriage under 5 years, spousal support might last for a shorter period of time, around, say, 20% of the marriage's length on average. Marriages between 5 and 20, we kind of up how long it lasts. Marriages over 20 or more, these are things where this gets a little interesting, because courts have more discretion and they can award permanent support, permanent maintenance, or for a length of time equal to the marriage itself. So it could be 20 years or more, or it could be lifetime, and so that's where looking at the state laws and understanding how long you've been married will come into play. I mean, sometimes it's just a scale. If you've been married this long, you get this many years of spousal maintenance. So we got some other factors to consider outside of just how long you were married. Let's see. The court's also going to consider each spouse's income and earning capacity. I mean, the higher earner is likely to pay, and the amount will depend on the disparity in incomes. Age and health of both spouses. If one spouse has health issues limiting their ability to work, it could extend support. And then you got child custody arrangements. If you have primary custody of children, that might impact your earning potential and justify longer support. We also have standard of living during the marriage. I mean, the aim here is to maintain a similar lifestyle. So if you enjoyed a high standard, your support might reflect that. So you want to remember, though, that spousal maintenance is not set in stone, and it can be modified based on significant changes in circumstances. For example, if the receiving spouse remarries or their income significantly increases, the payments might stop altogether. Now, this is a pretty complex piece, so getting legal advice could be very, very helpful. And you want to, talk about things that are very specific to your situation. I mean, every state, like I said, has its own state laws governing spousal maintenance. So, consulting a qualified divorce attorney in your area would probably be a big asset to you on figuring things out. And they're also going to be able to assess your case, analyze the factors, and give you a more accurate picture of what to expect regarding spousal maintenance and how much. I want to thank you for joining me on this episode of Breaking Ties. Is Divorce the Answer? Should you have any questions, my contact information is in the description. Divorce is not the end of your story. It is the start of your next great chapter. Until next time, have a good day. Hi, and welcome back to another episode of Breaking Ties. Is Divorce the Answer? I'm your host, Mike Fulkerson, financial advisor and certified divorce financial analyst professional. And today's topic is really close to many hearts, and that is helping your children through the end of a divorce. I mean, divorce can be a roller coaster for adults, but for children, it can be even more confusing and scary. The good news is there are steps you can take to prepare them for the finality of it all. And so I'm going to go through a bunch of bullet points here that, might apply to your situation. So we're going to just run through these. And first, we're going to start with honesty is always the best policy. I mean, really, even young children can pick up on tension. Choose a calm moment when you're both composed and have an age-appropriate conversation. Explain in simple terms that you and your spouse are getting a divorce. And that means you won't be living together anymore. Now, you're going to want to reassure them and, let your children know that this decision isn't about them and you both love them very much. Reassure them that they'll still see and spend time with both parents. There's going to be lots of questions. So children are going to ask a lot of questions, and some may make sense and some may not at the time, but you're going to answer them honestly, but avoid overwhelming details. Focus on practical aspects, where they'll live, how they'll see the other parent, and how routines might change. And then you got to prepare for the range of emotions. I mean, you're going to get that from your kids, just like you had for yourself as you're processing the divorce. I mean, they're going to go through that sadness, anger, or potentially confusion. And we want to be there for them. We want to validate their feelings and let them know it's okay to feel sad or angry. That's just normal processing. And then we got stability. I mean, stability is pretty important, and some changes are inevitable, but we still want to maintain stability in all the areas we can control. Keep routines like bedtime and meals consistent, and this sense of normalcy will provide comfort during the time where lots of other pieces are in upheaval. We're going to encourage open communication. I mean, really let your children know they can talk to you about anything, any questions, worries, or fears they have. Create a safe space for all the talking. There are also support groups out there for children of divorce, and they can be incredibly helpful. They connect kids with others going through similar experiences, and that reduces the feelings of isolation. But remember, they're still kids, and they may regress in behavior, need extra reassurance, or have trouble sleeping. Be patient, understanding, and offer them plenty of love and support. The end of the divorce process isn't the finish line. Really, healing takes time after that. Be patient with yourself and your children. Consider professional help if you feel overwhelmed or your children struggle to adjust. I want to thank you for joining me on this episode of Breaking Ties Is Divorce the Answer? If you have questions, my contact information is in the description. Divorce is not the end of your story. It is the start of your next great chapter. And with that, have a great day.